Hey there, random person. Have you been watching all the news on Diablo 2 Resurrected? Are you wondering what all the hype is about and whether or not you should play? Well, fear not, because these are my top 3 reasons why you should try Diablo 2 Resurrected. Diablo 2 is a classic. It's a piece of history, and regardless of whether you agree with the idea of it being the greatest of all time or whatever, you can't argue its success given that it's still around 20 years after its creation. Much like music or paintings, Diablo 2 is art, and I like to think of it as the Picasso of action RPGs. So whether you're super excited about the remaster or are just peeking into the darkness for a glimpse, you owe it to yourself to experience a piece of the past that had such an immense impact on the genre. Diablo 2 Resurrected release will only happen once. Don't you want to be a part of it? This reason might be a bit cheesy, but I still remember playing Diablo back in the day. I remember endless bell runs, upper farming, bug rushes, and all the PvP with all the friends. Not only do I remember these things, but just thinking about them puts a smile on my face, and perhaps it will never be the same as it once was, but even if the enjoyment I get is only a fraction of what it used to be, it will still be leagues ahead of anything I've experienced in recent years. I can only think of one other game which has a similar effect on my mood, and that game is long dead, so Diablo 2 for me is truly resurrecting a feeling about gaming that I have not had in a very long time. The PvP experience in Diablo 2 is my endgame. That is where I live and breathe. And from the farcasts to the chain locking and even those pesky desynced hammers, I love it all. And while I imagine Blizzard might change some of the more unfair bugs, they did say that some of the bugs they consider to be quirks. So why is the PvP so great in Diablo 2? Well, I thought about it for a while, and I really can't put my finger on one reason. Maybe it's just nostalgia, or maybe it's the joy of watching your opponent's ear fall to the ground as they cry out their last breath while you stand over their potion-ridden corpse gloating in victory. But I can't really think of any particular reason why it's so great. So instead, I'll just tell you about one of my favorite PvP classes, the Whirlwind Assassin. Also, keep in mind that I haven't been playing Diablo 2 for the past 10 or however many years it was, aside from trying Path of Diablo a couple ladders, and some things may not be extremely accurate to the current meta as it is now, but I did do a bit of light reading, and it seems that the build and playstyle are identical to when I played it back in the day. So the Whirlwind Assassin uses Whirlwind as her main ability. This skill is normally exclusive to barbarians, but we're gaining access to it through a use of the rune word Chaos. If you want to know more about rune words and how they work, there will be links in the description for that. So we're using Whirlwind granted from a rune word on our assassin, but only as a conduit to apply poisons, which is mainly coming from venom in the Shadow Discipline tree. Since Whirlwind attacks very rapidly and grants immunity to CC, it allows a lot of chances to poison while also being unstoppable. Unless you die, of course, you're not immune to damage. The Whirlwind Assassin also has a few variants, but my preferred style is a trap hybrid variant for more versatility. This allows her to play at range for particularly deadly melee opponents, like smiters and maybe some beefy barbs out there. This kind of hybrid build is quite common in PvP because changing gear based on who you're fighting is a common strategy. Take the Whirlwind Assassin for an example. At any given time, I'll have maybe 2 weapon variants and multiple rings or amulets and other gear to deal with elemental damage or high block and defense characters. So even if someone is itemizing to fight against my strong poison, I will also be itemizing against them, and because of my hybrid damage, their itemization is less effective. For me, this is really the joy of PvP, is just finding that balance in the build without having to completely re-gear your character. I do plan on making more Diablo 2 Resurrected content, so if you're hip to that kind of thing, consider subscribing and liking this video.